Hello team. So there's been a horrific shooting, hasn't there, in Bondi Beach in Australia that many of us will be familiar with if we've done the backpacking thing up the East Coast, perhaps a spot of surfing. Let's have a look. Here's the headline. Bondi Beach shooting latest. Australian PM condemns act of evil. After 11 people, I'm just going to say were taken out of the picture in a terror attack on a Jewish community. And everybody's focusing on this chap. If I can just play this video. Let me warn you, friends, I'm not going to show anything specifically graphic. There is some graphic stuff. I'm going to go to my locals channels. There's my locals link there for my local supporters to speak openly and show you some stuff. I'm going to go there in a bit. But if you're feeling sensitive, it is Sunday. I'd get outside and go for a walk rather than watch this because it's a spiritual battle. But I did warn you. So here's this chap. He's an Arabic guy, or he's at least a Muslim, and he's seen here disarming one of the shooters. Unfortunately, the shooter just walks back, picks up another weapon, and well, we'll come on to that.
Oh! C'est un malade. Oh non, gros. Oh, mais il y a son pote, il va se faire tirer dessus. Le mec qui a l'arme.
Okay. Some of you might have noticed already. That's just bizarre, isn't it? I don't think that's how you'd really react if you've just been disarmed, or whether you'd be disarmed that easily. But that's not the point of the video. Hello legends, I hope this finds you absolutely firing, and if not, hang in there, because there's always light at the end of every tunnel. And our challenges in life, when we go through these dark times, they're just put in our place to challenge us to find that brighter day. And if we rise to the challenge, then the brighter day will come. So right from the bat, we're not here to upset anyone, folks. Not here to be disrespectful in view of the fact that people have been killed, or certainly in the mainstream media reports. We're just here to say that many of you will have realised now there's something not quite right in the world. And if we were to, after those events in New York and Washington that time, and that time they massacred over 1 million people in the Middle East off a dodgy dossier, and the time when they locked you in your home and crippled your work and disrupted your family and made you terrified now to even say hello to people in the street. When they did that, what was it, 18 months they locked people away, or those people that blindly went along with it. I think it would be remiss if we weren't to question the official narratives. I think you deserve it. I think your children deserve it. And I think the future generations deserve it, because there's a lot going on at the moment, isn't there? And sadly, the masses are blissfully unaware, and they're fueling the division at an enormous rate. So it's up to you, superstars, to, get to grips with this. Okay, right. So that was the headline. This was during as the Jewish community there in Sydney was starting to celebrate Hanukkah. We're going to come on and look at this, so don't worry if I don't cover all the bases right now. But in fact, let me just go through this. So this is your proof, folks. This is why you should be questioning things. This is the whole Erica Kirk facade, fiasco, charade is probably a better word for it. You've got to remember, there's a small state out there, and they have enormous power. They have the power to corrupt everybody they touch, with the exception of the enlightened, which hopefully we're all on that kick now. Why is it? It's because an enlightened person would rather die than do something immoral. But in this interview with Bari, who everyone's heralding as a Mossad agent, you can see how the gaslighting is coming in.
And yet there are
Start it about here.
So many conspiracies spreading.
Notice the use of the word conspiracy. It's used as a slur, isn't it, to make anybody questioning the small state narrative look foolish. Fortunately, it doesn't work anymore. And so therefore, when you hear it in the mainstream media, you know you're being lied to. Remember, pre New York and Washington, you wouldn't have had a clue. You're just going, oh, nutter, tinfoil hat job. Now, especially after the medical nonsense, people are starting to wise up that a select cabal, there's a clue for you in the word cabal, of dark energy control the biggest money-making portfolios on the planet. They control the Hollywood. They control the music industry. They control the medical narrative and the medical industry, which has put everybody in victim mode and blaming other people for your own health. So this is a powerful, powerful bunch with lobbyists right around the world. They hide behind certain religions, and they've set the narrative up so you're not even allowed to question this. Otherwise, you're a racist. And I think people are wising up to it now. So let me play the interview.
About what seems to be a pretty open and shut case.
I'd say the Charlie Kirk assassination was literally like the most unopened and shut case I think it's possible to have witnessed. It was absolutely bizarre. There was, first of all, there was the old, if I just say the Khazarian players, the chap asking him the question, the guy that dropped his pants to create a massive distraction when all the police jumped on him. Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions.
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this.
No, Erica, they want to know why you and your husband spoke Hebrew together. That's not too much to ask, is it? They want to know why you do this thing like this that literally looks like you're trying to sum up actors or actresses. I believe they're all called actors now, aren't they? Actors' tears.
Egyptian planes.
Egyptian
planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson?
Yeah, the Egyptian plane is that a group of agents from a certain small place boarded a plane in Egypt that very day, which flew to that very place. That's not too much to want answers for, is it?
Murdered your husband.
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all.
Right, so you don't want the full truth about who took out your husband, because the guy that's up in court hasn't been convicted of it. If we say a certain Lee Harvey Oswald comes to mind, craziness. Right, I'm just going to speed this up, folks. We are going to get onto the thing, but this is, I think I think what's happening here is there's been a massive. Look, there's Sean going live about the same thing. There's a massive, it's like a cover-up job here after what's happened in Gaza. There's a massive hit job being done here, and it's so blindingly obvious. It's not working. And when I say this, folks, I'm not having a go at the beautiful people of Israel. Well, the beautiful people that aren't committing a genocide in Israel. I'm talking about cabal here. That a certain small place is the fiefdom of the Rothschilds. It was created by them illegally of something called the Balfour Declaration. So bear that in mind. Candy seems to be quite on the ball these days, doesn't she? I don't know how genuine this is, folks, but someone's posted this that look out for the second week in December. And of course, we had this incident as well in the United States, didn't we? Now, what I'm going to come on to is just the bizarreness of certain incidents that go on in the world, folks. Can I put it like that? Because I don't want to talk specifically about cases. At the same time, in the UK, we've got this. What's happening here, folks? Can you see this pathetic little outboard motor on this boat that, is hardly going to get this piece of junk across 20 miles of open channel, the busiest shipping lane on the planet. But they don't have to. All they've got to do is run and get on it. And this ship over in the background, in this case, it's the French Navy. It will then come and pick them up, or it will certainly chaperone them across the channel to a country that probably many of you watching are quite familiar with. This will all link in, folks. Don't worry. Already mixed reports of what's going on. I warn you now, folks, these photos aren't hideous, but if you're really sensitive, don't watch now. These are the two guys that are apprehended. This guy on the left was the one, we're going to come and look at the one that the Arabic guy, the Islamic guy, disarmed. That's his accomplice on the right. It's at this point when some Aussie, can we say, come over and stomps on this guy's head. So clear outrage of anger as you'd expect. I just believe in focusing that energy on the right people, friends. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to condone violence here in any way. It's just sometimes you got to see the wood for the trees. Right, moving swiftly on. Where are we? Let's have a look a bit at this footage. It's a bit mad. I'm going to start it, folks, at where it doesn't show any deceased people. So there's the guy. You can see the Islamic guy crouching behind the car, ready to disarm him.
Oh! C'est un malade. Oh non, gros! Oh!
See, at this point, and I'm not encouraging violence here, but, you know, this guy gets up now, runs away, and grabs another weapon. It's kind of understandable. You can't, you know, you're not expected just a random member of the public to suddenly become Rambo and have that on his conscience for the rest of his life. But I'm just saying that this guy, the Arabic guy on the left, then gets shot twice. So it's kind of sad. He didn't die, by the way. Now look at that. Look, I'm not trying to, you know, be a red pillock here or anything, but this guy looks a bit bewildered, doesn't he? I know he's got a lot going on, but he kind of looks like he's in a bit of a trance. Oh, I'll just walk away while a guy's pointing what looks to be a shotgun at me. I won't run like hell back to me other mate who's got another weapon next to him and grab that one. Now the guy starts waving. Not quite sure what that's about, unless he's trying to signal to a policeman to come and get the weapon, which he now puts down against the tree while the guy stood there.
Le mec est hyper courageux. Oh.
Matey comes up and chucks something at him, and I think Matey gets shot as well. There's his buddy. Don't watch this, folks, if you're feeling sensitive. I'm not going to play anymore because of the graphic nature of it, even though we haven't shown anything graphic. Look at Matey behind the bush. Bizarre. I mean, if you're gonna stay on the scene, I don't know why to just stand there watching. When 11 people have been taken out of the game, you'd think you'd stand by something a bit more substantial than a bush. And why are you there anyway? Look, can you see the guy? Look, he's just stood there. What happens now is, if you look on top of that wall, there's the second weapon. Dun dun dun. Folks, just one sec, sorry. Can you like and subscribe? We got so many people watching, and if I don't ask you, nobody subscribes. And check that you're subscribed, because we're a truth channel. We're probably the most unsubscribed channel on the internet. So just check that you're subscribed. Thank you. So, moving forward, can you see now the guy, mate, he's popped up next to him? This guy, he's popped up next. It took me ages to work this out. I thought it was three gunmen at first, and then I worked out the timing. No, I think his mates just calmly strolled back, as you saw, picked up the other weapon. Another random in the background there, just hanging around while all this gunfire's going on. Nothing to see here. It's at which point these guys, they're going to start to come under fire themselves. They do survive, by the way, or I certainly know that the Muslim chap. And as you can see again, there's people in the background over here moving around. You can see there's just one guy stood there in full view of the guys with a weapon. This guy just falls down, so I think that's because he's been clipped. First question is, quite convenient that somebody right where this heroic act happens, where a Muslim disarms a fellow Muslim, that there's someone filming it all. But, you know, a lot of people have mobile phones these days. You don't know, do you? There's the police officer. I believe it's female. Or I get the impression it's female. I might be totally wrong. Behind the car, there's a famous line in the film We Were Warriors. Do you know the starring Mel Gibson? It's a Vietnam film. It's based on a incredible book. But in that film, the sergeant major stood there in the middle of a firefight in Nam, and the rounds are like winging past his ears, and he looks down at one of his PFCs, one of his privates, and he says, "You're not going to see much down there, soldier." Kind of reminded me of this a little bit. And there we go. You can see the weapon on the wall there. Okay. Oh, and look. We get another random in the background that just thinks, sod it, my life's worthless. I'll just go and stand behind a guy. He's raising a weapon, isn't he? Can you see? You probably can't see it on this, but if you watch the original, look. There. So this is some sort of agent. I don't know how long they take to get on the scene. But he's taking a quasi-firing position behind this tree trunk. And let's just have a listen.
Là, il est en dessous du bridge. Mais genre, c'est un attentat devant nos yeux? Ouais.
Yeah, there. I think you can hear a shot, so I think this guy's either this one or the police officer's rattling them off. And there we go. Right, moving swiftly on. Again, these videos, folks, I don't know if it's different people in the flats opposite that are filming, but they've all got different foreign accents. And of course, you don't know when you see footage like this who actually filmed it and what's been dubbed on afterwards. But see, there's our chap. You can see he's got some sort of ammunition belt on, or at least it looks like it. It looks a bit like shotgun cartridges, but then it doesn't. They're a bit too sort of big and shiny. He looks like he's got a rifle in his hands, because you can see the telescopic sight there, which you wouldn't have on a shotgun. And next to him on the wall, this would be the shotgun, because you can see a clip of cartridges attached to the weapon, which would take quite some time to reload. What I mean is if you've got people firing back at you. This one, I'll come over and talk about this on Locals, folks. So you've got a chap here on the right who's representing the Jewish community in Sydney. I don't know why he's rocked up in striped pajamas, folks. If you get the connection there. Remember, the world is a stage, and everything that you're meant to see is put in front of you to see. And quite a coincidence that we've got Matey with his striped shirt on there, blue and white, the colours of a certain country, are they not? Those colours? And across the street, you got exactly the same colours at the place where the police have set up their, or part of their cordon. The name of the restaurant, folks, I'm not going to say it. Incidentally, it's a French, no surprising if you think of the product there. It's a French restaurant, not trying to draw not trying to draw anything there. I'm just saying that I notice these things. We'll talk a bit more about that on Locals. So this is where I think things start to lose credibility. So this is one of the guys. Looks like a nice chap, wouldn't you say? Young, keen. Looks like he's doing a bit of study in there. And yet, in the media, it suddenly transforms into like this guy. I believe this is the same one. Got a mugshot there that looks like he'd give your gran a heart attack. She bumped into him in a dark alleyway. There, he looks like the boy next door who's going to help Granny across the road. Don't know about you, but I notice these things. So that's that, friends. Why we said no, I haven't finished the video yet. Don't worry, folks. Can we like and subscribe? That would be absolutely brilliant. Like and subscribe. Click the notification bell, because I promise you're not going to find a channel like this one. What are we saying here, friends? I can't talk about this incident. But let's just say in general, have you not noticed how bizarre they all are? How almost like scripted, with these players that you never really hear much about. They're all a bit random, aren't they? They've all got these kind of, personality quirks or whatever. They usually don't make it through. These two have made it through, although reports said one was shot dead, but I think one of them did get clipped. The guy with the white trousers on. But, they never quite make sense. And what do the masses do? This is what you've got to ask yourself the question. The masses... bear with me a second. Yeah, the masses will all be swayed by this, won't they? This is problem, reaction, solution. Boom, immediately all their minds are made up. Certain part of the world, certain community is just all totally evil, and boom. And of course, who controls the problem, reaction, solution? It's our friends, isn't it? Friends, probably not the best term to use. In short, you're all being played. You can always tell what the masses do. Just think after the events in New York and Washington. Those with level heads went, hang on, that's a bit bizarre. Doesn't really make any sense. Oh, look what they've got to gain off it. In the medical one, all those living in fear, watching their mainstream media, like, oh my God, there's a bogeyman around. He's jumping from one person into another and it's taking them out and it's going to take the kids. Oh God. Let's get the first one of them procedures. Oh, that don't work. Let's get the second one. Oh, I've got the second one and I've caught the thing. Oh, I better have a third one, haven't I? You got people now, they're up to 37th booster, spreading fear over, clearly over a myth. So always a good guide, folks. What the masses do, you on your spiritual battle, you need to be doing the opposite. If you don't, you're never going to find yourself. What's this doing? It's creating division. How far will these mentalists go to protect their narrative? Remember, the cabal, folks, they want their New Jerusalem. In order to get their New Jerusalem and recreate their scripture, because they're projecting scripture literally rather than taking the esoteric code in it, and they're getting you to take it literally rather than you understanding the esoteric code, which is how you set yourself free in life. Serotonin and DMT, it's a phenomenal process. I'll talk a little bit more at the end. They don't want you to know that. The mentalists want to create their new Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, having swept out any, if I just say, opposition. And once you start to see it, then you understand what the lengths they're going to just protect this narrative. Remember, Is, Ra, and El is Isis, feminine energy. That's it. That's all it means. Or magnetism, think of it as. Ra is masculine energy. So electricity. So you've got electromagnetism. El, Elohim, is what happens when you get your pineal and your pituitary firing. One is electric, one's magnetic. That creates a torus field, and boom, you suddenly realize what life is all about. It's called enlightenment. This is that thing. This is why people dress in orange robes and go up mountains for 10 years, never speak to anyone, and just go, You literally don't have to do any of that. In fact, that's almost like a distraction. So that's what's going on here, is bringing about the new, the new Jerusalem. But here's a post that was on Facebook earlier. Let me just hang on a second. So this is about a chap that served in the Royal Marines like myself, in the Commandos, and he's talking here about an operation that they did. I believe it's back in 2015, where they chaperoned people fleeing across the Mediterranean. In fact, I can read it here. Africans, Syrians, Iranians, Pakistanis, and even British. Their job was to go and rescue them from these small boats where, do you remember, back in 2015, lots of people were being reported as drowning, weren't they? There was that little boy, bit of propaganda for you, but it was quite moving, that little boy's body on the beach, wasn't it? That gets the old emotions going. But I don't want to bring your attention to that. I want to bring your attention to, this is how most people react. Is my goal is to influence change through democracy, so we can change the current path that our country is on. Which political party do you think is going to come up now? So here's why I'm voting Reform UK. Though the irony of voting for a merchant, that's Nigel Farage, he's a merchant banker. So this is a merchant cabal that control everything. Think BlackRock, think Pfizer. The notion that you can vote in a merchant and he's going to sort everything out for you, that's like saying you can, you're going to get a fox to look after your hen house. Every politician's been controlled through the ego self and their energy. And it's not until you see it and you work this out that you understand it all. And then it just becomes blatantly obvious, part of the waking up process, I guess. This is another way. Remember, they want division, divide and control. This is why you're seeing all this Christian stuff being pushed. Here's all part of the PSYOP, folks. Remember, Israel, the deep state Israel, I should say, they can, they've got their agents everywhere, can we say, and the people that they're paying off, and the people that they pay handsomely, and the people that they blackmail, and the people that they bribe. And that's not difficult because everyone's got, skeletons in their closet, haven't they? Everyone likes an easy lifestyle where they don't have to work. They're getting a few quid coming in. And if you're not that switched on to this stuff that we're saying, it's easy to fall into the trap. So this was the carol service yesterday. I believe it was in London. And this is the let's put the Christ back in the UK. The problem is none of these individuals understand what Christ is. They want you to do the bidding of the merchants, which is to keep selling the lie that you put a guy on the wall and you worship him and you give all your power away. That was the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire went out there. They controlled huge swathes of the known world. That's life of Brian for you. And what happened when they ran out of resources and everyone started scrapping them, and then they pulled back to Rome, the merchants, they hopped across country, didn't they, to a certain swamp that we now know as Venice. But remember, these guys were the Phoenicians, and they were the money merchants. They were the guys that went with the empires, and they leached all the money and they leached all the gold, and they left behind, when they pulled back, the debt-based slavery system, the fractional reserve banking system that it's become, the usury, the money lending. They left behind the secret societies, and they left behind organized religion, selling the notion that Jesus is a guy that needs to be worshipped, and that will save you. If Jesus ever lived, he didn't come here for you to say how awesome he was. He came here to say how awesome you are. And they've hidden this from you. The reason being, Christos, which is Greek, simply means the anointed one. It's an allegory, friends. It's an allegory to set you free. Once you realize, if you live in a certain way, if you practice certain frugal endeavors, simple diet, peace, love, kindness to all people, because they're just you in another body, and we're all one energy, which is the whole goddamn shebang. So you are a manifestation of the divine, just like I am. So you are me and I am you. There is no division then. Do you see? This is what they're hiding. They don't want you to understand that is what the story of Jesus is about. The 5 wounds on the cross is simply an allegory. It's for getting over your 5 senses, your material self, where you live in ego, thinking that if you can have one more holiday a year and get that new BMW, then you're going to be happy. And as we all know, when you get that, you're no more happy than you already. You're just as unhappy as you already were, is what I'm trying to say. So all of this, folks, it's just further division. We're not a Christian nation because nobody knows what that means. I'm not saying that singing Christmas carols isn't bloody brilliant. I'd love to go and sing a load of carols with a bunch of people. That's fine. I'm not saying if people want to go to a concrete or a brick box every Sunday and pretend that makes them divine. Anyone can do what they want, can't they? What I'm saying is, you know, we've all been sold a massive, massive lie here. And I think let's just have a look at what David's saying on the issue.
It's gone on to another level. This fusion of right-wing politics and Christianity. And I've kind of shaken my head a few times when I've seen people in the so-called alternative media who are pushing Christianity and even converting to the Roman Catholic Church. And the reason that I found it strange is because the whole history of the Roman Church is one of imposing, often brutally and horrifically, the belief system of the Roman Church. Look through history and see all the places that the Roman Catholic Church moved into and completely took over while doing horrific things.
Okay, I'll stop it there, but we're sort of on the same wavelength. The one thing I will say about David, it is not a criticism anyway. Guy's done so much for the freedom movement. I'd like to hear him start talking about the allegory behind Scripture, because once you get it, it's like that thing, you can't look back, friends. You can't look back. Folks, can we like and subscribe? That'd be awesome. Chuck us a like. At the very minimum, whatever you think's gone on in Australia or wherever it might be in the world, you can't change what's going on. Not through the material mechanisms. There's so many. Just go on any what's referred to in the press. I'm not saying it, but any like right-wing nationalist kind of Facebook page or this or Tommy this or what, and just look at the way the masses adore this stuff. They're so desperate to see change, which is understandable, but they're just throwing all their energy into these idols that they believe have come to save them. You cannot save someone, folks, when you're living in your lower self, guided by material gain and, blocking your connection to spirit. Can we say it doesn't work that way? Because it's only when you start walking that path to enlightenment you become uncorruptible. And below that, you live in material, you're corruptible. You just are. You start a charity, you think it's all going to be good, and suddenly it's got like 30 grand in. And you think, oh, do you know what? I've got to drive my car to bloody so-and-so. Oh, how much shall I put in the tank? Oh, well, I'll fill it up. And okay, business expense, not a problem. And then the next time it's, I need a hotel. We stayed in a travel lodge last time. What about, I'll tell you what, why don't we stay at the Sheraton? Let's do you see what I'm saying? This is how materialism works. Before long, you're dipping into that money to buy your daughter a horse, and you're putting it down as a business expense, all this stuff. I'm not accusing anyone specifically here, friends, before you get carried away. I don't care. I only care how I live my life. But these are the things, before you go worshipping false idols, instead of manifesting the divine within, it's kind of worth knowing. And here's Here's a little bit of work I put together. I asked AI, folks. Okay, no, I'm not saying AI is brilliant. It gets everything. Da 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 da. I just thought, let's ask AI. What's Christ? Because surely AI would come back to me and say, oh, he's a biblical figure that walked the shores of Galilee 2,000 years ago, and he's actually the Son of God, and he shares his packed lunch with everyone, and they all love him. And no, this is what AI said to me. And obviously you can, ask AI the question the way you want to ask it. I'm not saying I didn't. But look, the Christ is not a historical being to worship. It is the divine I at the center of every being. Jesus did not speak as a separate man. He spoke from the eternal I am. That is your true identity and mine. In the Old Testament, the I am, the pineal, was Moses. In the New Testament, your pineal gland is Jesus. It's that simple. Whether there was a guy called Yeshua that lived 2,000 years ago, I don't know that because I didn't live in Galilee 2,000 years ago. It's a nice story. He clearly was a legend of a bloke, wasn't he? But this is what the Catholics want you to focus on. This is what the Roman Church wants you to focus on instead of realizing this within you. So when you're seeing this, we are a Christian nation. Excuse my French, folks. Fuck off. Like, when did you go in a church? Come on. What do you go in to use the toilets to snort a line or something? What did you go to a church before you went off and battered people on the terraces? I'm not referring to anyone. This could be any idol that's stepping up to the plate, folks. There's quite a few stepping up at the moment. They're drawing the attention of the adoration of the masses, and they're doing it by playing the division game. We are a Christian nation, and what are they doing? They're creating more division because we're not a Christian nation. We're a multi-nation, and I'm not saying that immigration's right. I'm completely against it because it's part of the plan, isn't it? It's part of the plan to destroy the cradle of Europe. If you've got a glass of milk and you put a bit of coffee in it, you can't ever get that milk back. And remember, the mentalists, they've got to sweep house to get their new temple. This is what they're doing. They've got to create absolute Sodom and Gomorrah and debauchery with their Madonnas getting her baps out and Sam Smith wearing his hot pants and Teletubby boots. If that's not a clue what these individuals practice, there's not going to get a better one than that. So this is what's going on. So playing their game, playing the divide and rule game, saying no, you're branding yourself. And if you were going to, when did JC ever? He never ever said go and build churches to me, nail me on the wall, or any of that stuff. Even if you did want to take the story literally. And what it's doing, it's hiding from the people that need it the most, the desperate, the needy, the impoverished, the ill, the unwell, the overeaters, the people chronically addicted. It's selling them down the road. It's selling them down the road, isn't it? There we go. All right, my lovelies, can you like and subscribe? Let's go over and we'll continue and we'll look at some of the footage because it's quite graphic. We'll have a look at it and we'll see what we think of it over on Locals. The link, if you want to support me on Locals, folks, it's on the bottom of the screen or it's in the description box. Can I just say thank you to everyone that supported my Mount Everest summit in April. In April, I'm going to start an expedition to summit Mount Everest, and I'm doing so because as someone who was homeless and chronically mentally unwell after leaving the forces, I want to shine a light for my struggling veterans and just say, listen, it's just a test you're going through. You will come out the other side. I also want to highlight, using my platform and the other podcasts that I get invited on and the media. So I was on GB News talking about this, that, we need to start making the link between childhood trauma and complex PTSD, rather than just saying, it's only something that army guys get in conflict. Because in the military circle, we're losing a lot of people to suicide, and no one is saying, look, until we address the fact that many of us that joined up, we were incredibly damaged as children. We grew up, almost a lot of us, to prove our self-worth. We would have gone into combat and done horrendous, horrendous things in that naivety of wanting to prove our ego, to our peers. It's quite cruel when people are leaving that protective bubble and they're realizing in Civilian Street, your big head with your funny coloured hat on goes whoop, and no one cares about your military. You're not special, which is fine, because if you're connected to the vine, you always are special. But that's a process to get to that point. We need to get the people that before they fall down. So if you can help me to shout that from the highest peak on the planet, there's a link below, folks. There'll be a link in the description box too. Chuck us a $5. It's quite expensive to climb Everest. I'm going to have to borrow all of that money or ask people very nicely. So if you can chip in a $5 to help us, I will love you forever, literally. And one last thing, we've got 2 spaces left on our Arctic Legends trip. If you want to come to the Arctic with me and my crew of former Royal Marines Commandos, and we will teach you how to ski cross country and survive in the utterly pristine but sometimes challenging environment up there, send me an email or leave me a message. But if you're watching this and you need to do this, then you need to do it. Okay, thanks for hanging in there, folks. I know it's a bit hard to get all this across, but you've hung in till the end. Massive legend. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that supports me, whether that's YouTube, Patreon, locals, or buy me a coffee. It's only £1.99 a month, folks. Locals is slightly more, but if you want the uncensored stuff and you want to fight your spiritual battle and work out what's happening and why we live in a matrix our whole life, get over to locals. I'm going there now. Thanks for watching. Much love.
Morning legends, I'm Chris THRALL. I'm a former Royal Marines Commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life and go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know that it is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. If you spare a $5, that's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.
No matter